Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. I want to talk about the mysterious drones that are occurring in the United States. And now, if you're on X, Twitter, there are people posting about them showing up in Manitoba over Canadian locations as well. This is a big media thing. This is deception. This is misdirection. This is look over here, not over there. What are they redirecting our attention from? This is what you need to understand. Remember when the Chinese balloons came through? We were completely redirected. All our attention, all the media bandwidth was taken up with the balloons. The same thing is happening with the drones. And what is the government telling everybody? Nothing to worry about here. Nothing to worry about. We don't know what it is, but we know it's not anything to worry about. We know it's not dangerous. And this is honestly probably the truth. If they're saying it's not dangerous, why? Well, they're probably saying that because they know what it is. They absolutely do know what it is. And they are being told to be quiet about it. It is likely a test of some drone technology, artificial intelligence flying drone technology. And they're testing it on the United States and apparently Canada now. And this is a post I got off X. This is one guy, and I think this is close to the truth. He says, I think it's a PteroDynamics XP4 trans-wing drone. Now, let me show you a picture of this. Let me just go here and mute that. So what you're looking at there is X. You can see this drone. It's a vertical takeoff or a VTOL vehicle. So the wings turn upwards and the four quadricopter propellers point upwards, so you can take off vertically just like a quadcopter, a drone, a regular drone. And then as it starts moving forward, the wings move into shape and it looks more like a regular aircraft with wings and then four motors pointing forward, pulling it through the air. So what this allows it to do is to go a lot faster across the ground. This is what's flying over New Jersey, this particular guy says. It's very clearly a DoD trial of this particular type of VTOL drone meant for Navy and logistic monitoring. So I think they're testing basically swarms of these drones because what they want to do is deploy them over in the Middle East or Europe, wherever it may be. And I think it's hard to test these in an Area 51 type location, over top a military base, because they want to test it with RF interference, with all the sorts of signals, cell phones, cameras, all these sorts of things. They want to see what can the public see, what can our sensors pick up in terms of the signature of this device, heat, light, otherwise. How does it work in the congested radio frequency space that is some of our large cities? How does it operate? Can you hear it? And you simply can't duplicate that if you're simply flying over a base or over a desert where there is much less radio frequency interference, which may interrupt, its onboard computers, its communication, its downlink, that sort of thing. So that's what I suspect is going on. And he says, the PteroDynamics XP4 is being developed for the U.S. Navy as a recon and logistics drone capable of picking up and dropping off packages between land and a moving ship. This is where the idea of this mothership, this Iranian mothership, which again the Pentagon and Biden's administration came out, the White House, and said no, there's no Iran mothership, but that's because it's probably a U.S. mothership of some sort. It says including in high sea and high wind. So they're testing this for real-world scenarios. This is new technology. They're trying to catch up to the rest of the world, especially Iran with its drone technology. And this is kind of the next generation of drone technology. And so they're testing this in all manner with a real live population. This is why the U.S. government knows that it's not harmful, because they're not going to necessarily use this in a destructive manner against its own citizens, but they will use it to see what they can see, spy, maybe look into houses and use all the cameras and sensors on board to kind of understand and maybe watch or recover Wi-Fi signals and cell phone signals and track people and it's a great way to test it while not in a war zone where people might otherwise be trying to shoot it down, right? And this is why they're fully lighted. They got their red and their green lights on. They got all their flying lights. The government knows exactly what this is. As the name suggests, it says it's a trans-wing design which transitions between quadricopter and a fixed-wing mode for both long-range flight and VTOL capability. So with this traditional quadcopter, you have to have a pretty big battery on there, and the most flight time you're going to get is an hour, maybe more than that. But compared to a fixed wing, which is moving forward, and the wings are holding it up versus the propellers, and a quadcopter, the four propellers are creating the lift. Whereas with a regular airfoil airplane with wings, it's the airfoils that are creating the lift, so you need a much less power to keep it aloft as long as it's moving in a forward direction and getting airflow over its airfoil. And so that's what this does, this particular thing. These wings move forward, and again, you have a traditional aircraft once these have moved forward and provide the wings. But the added capability is that you don't need a landing strip on a ship or in the Middle East where you're going to be launching these from a destroyer or an aircraft carrier, whatever it may be, and you're going to have swarms of these sorts of unmanned devices as well. Now they're saying these are big, the size of a car, the size of a bus, and that's really the same size that Iran's drones are as well. Similar sort of size. So these are not small play toys, and because they're not, if they were enemy airplanes, the U.S. military would be absolutely taking these out of the sky. But it's a distraction, and it's a great test for the military. It says officially it has 1 hour flight time and a max payload, but could have been upgraded. It's about 13 feet wide, 6 feet long, about the dimensions of a compact SUV, consistent with witness statements, and its flight path leads directly from coast up to northern New Jersey, and would you know it, where it's commonly seen, we find Joint Base McGuire, Dix Lakehurst, home of the Naval Air Warfare Center, Aircraft Division, whose whole job is to research, test, and support aircraft for Navy combat operations. So I 100% think that's what this is. The rumor that there was an Iranian mothership, I think that's close to the truth. I think, in fact, the U.S. has motherships that it's launching these from, because when they're projecting power in the rest of the world, where are they? They're in the oceans. They're in the Mediterranean Sea. They're sailing through, different, the Red Sea and these different areas of water so that they can project power. So they need a waterborne platform to launch these from. And so, yeah, it's a mothership. It's exactly like you're hearing. What you hear has bits of truth in it. All of it has bits of truth in it, but not the full truth. And this is really what the government does all the time. They always give you bits of truth, but not the whole truth. And did you know what? That's also what Satan does. He always gives you a bit of truth, but not the whole truth. Remember Satan in the Garden of Eden with Eve. And when Eve was looking at the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and Satan says, "You shall not surely die when you eat this fruit." As soon as you eat this fruit, and there was a little bit of truth to that, because she's not going to die immediately from it. She did live longer, but she died spiritually. So that's how Satan works. And from the very beginning, he gives you a little kernel of truth wrapped in a big lie. And that's what this is. It says, and why they're not talking about them, it's their drone, and they don't want to advertise. So they don't want to give any more information to the enemy, Iran, Russia, whomever it may be, about their new technology, but they do need to test it in real-world scenarios. TLDR, at least, some of the Jersey drones are most likely experimental VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, drones being tested out by the Navy, likely running nighttime training missions between Nakad, Lakehurst, and a Navy ship offshore. And I 100% believe that's what this is. If the Pentagon is coming out and saying, it's not enemy, we don't know what it is, well, they're not going to say what it is. It's a secret, top secret military plane and test, like the Blackbird. They're not going to tell you what it is, but they do know that it's not a problem, at least from their point of view. And I do believe it's not a foreign sort of thing. This is the wind doctor. Stop worrying. The vaccines are safe. Masks work. Inflation is transitory. Social distancing works. Climate change is real. And drones are harmless, they say. Well, I think in this case it's true that these drones are so far harmless. They may be monitoring and spying on U.S. citizens, but they're probably not going to kill any U.S. citizens with these particular drones. But do they have the technology, the capability? They probably do. So in the last days, how do we tie it to the last days? Well, there's going to be a great deception in the last days, and God's going to bring upon the people of the earth a great delusion. He's going to allow them to believe a lie. Because why? Because they want to believe a lie. They don't want to know the truth. They want their ears tickled, Bible speaks of. But this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the KJV. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, they are deceivable. They can be told a lie to, and they will believe that lie. Those who are perishing will believe the lie because they received not the love of the truth. They don't love the truth. If you love the truth, you will find Jesus Christ. That's what makes the difference between the people who are in eternity with God and who are in eternity apart from God. And that's all hell is, eternity apart from God. And we can get into that, but that's at its highest level. That's what it means. And so people don't love the truth because they don't want to. They don't want the truth to be true. To be honest with you, because they want to be their own gods. And for this cause, God shall send them a strong delusion that they should believe the lie. So He's going to say, okay, if you don't love the truth, if you don't want the truth, you can run with the lie. Go ahead, He's saying. He's giving people permission to run with the lie, and they therefore are making their decision for heaven or for hell, for God or to be apart from God for eternity. It says, verse 12, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So this is the beginning of the separation of the sheep and the goats, and the separation of the righteous and the unrighteous. This is an ever escalating, like birth pains, like COVID was. It was an opportunity for those to have trust in God or to trust in man, and these drills or opportunities will be increasing in frequency and intensity in the last days. They will be getting harder and harder. It will become very hard to continue on in this world and not be persecuted for the choice that you're making. Remember in COVID, how hard was it to be unvaccinated? You got ridiculed. You got called names. You were swore at. People laughed at you and sneered at you and said, you don't deserve anything from the government. You don't deserve health care even. If you have to go into... people were even rejected from life-saving surgeries because they were simply unvaccinated from a flu. Now, maybe a more dangerous flu, maybe, but generally only if you had a comorbidity. But nonetheless, you were ostracized. You were persecuted if you were not vaccinated and you tried to go out and do anything. And people made fun of you. They spit in people's faces in some cases. And that's not unlike the followers of Christ in the last days. We will be spit in the face. We will be ridiculed. You believe in a spaghetti monster in the sky? Ha ha ha. This is what we have coming. But those who don't care about the truth, and there are many who don't care about the truth, by the way, those will spend an eternity apart from God. They will be damned for not recognizing, not believing the truth. They had pleasure in unrighteousness. They lusted after things that are not of God, and they relished them. And for a short period of time, they will have their quote-unquote good times on this earth until they die. But we're here for a short time, and so you need to find the Lord Jesus Christ. It may be hard now, but it's gonna make or break where it's gonna choose for you where you're gonna spend eternity. But we are bound to give thanks always to God, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation, those who believe the truth, through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. If you believe in the truth, you will be saved through Jesus Christ. Don't believe the delusion. We are being told many, many lies in the last days, and you need to trust in God to help you separate truth from lies, from fiction. And often the truth is in the media stories. It's in the the mainstream and the alternative media. It's in the news, but you have to understand where that truth is and separate it from fiction. So that's what it is, folks. I believe this is totally a government-run test of maybe some artificial intelligence drones, some auto-flying drones that they will ultimately use for monitoring, for spying. This is kind of the next generation from the old drones that they're using currently above Europe and such. And this is modern warfare. No longer is it going to be troops on the ground with firearms in their hands. It will be drone wars, basically. Star Wars got it right. Drone wars. That's how World War III is likely to happen. That's how Ukraine-Russia is fighting right now in large measure. It's all drone wars right now and missiles. So thanks for watching. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.